Hey, what's up guys, BoHD here, and I'm not a watch guy, nor am I much of a fitness tracker guy. I've tested my fair share of wearables over the years, but none of them managed to really stay on my wrist for any consistent length of time. But that changed when I received my Apple Watch Series Ultra. It's been over a month since my unit arrived, and I've not only worn it every single day, but I've actually enjoyed using it every single day. When it's not on my wrist because, it's being charged or something like that, I legitimately just feel like I'm missing something. It's like my phone wallet keys check turned into a phone wallet keys and Apple Watch check, even though it's a little harder to lose something that's attached to your wrist. So because I haven't used an Apple Watch since my Series 3 from years ago, I hope to be able to offer some relatively unique feedback for those of you considering such a big purchase or such a big upgrade if you're coming from an older Apple Watch like I was. This watch, it does cost $799, which is twice the cost of the starting price for the Apple Watch Series 8, which has a lot of the same features and functionalities. It's a lot of money, but there's a number of things I think Apple provides to help justify this price. For starters, it has a rugged build that's been redesigned to withstand a wide range of activities. So the main reason I stopped using an Apple Watch in the first place is because I wanted to use it as an activity tracker first and foremost, but I couldn't use it while rock climbing, which is my favorite fitness activity. I completely shattered the screen during one of my sessions, and I felt like this would continue to happen just given the nature of the curved glass on top of the display on every Apple Watch except for the Ultra. For a while, I was using the Amazon Halo because it doesn't have a screen whatsoever, and that actually worked fairly well, but it didn't have all the other benefits of an Apple Watch. The Ultra makes the display and the watch as a whole much more rugged thanks to the titanium case that surrounds the sapphire crystal display and the digital crown. I've been climbing multiple times a week with the Ultra, and I've smacked it against a number of holds, and there are no cracks to speak of, and there's actually not even any sort of scuffs or chips whatsoever, which I think is actually pretty impressive. Now, I'm a lefty, that's why I wear my watch on my right wrist, and the biggest annoyance I found with the design is that I'm frequently activating Siri when I'm working out because of how the digital crown is pressed when my wrist and hands are bent. And if you don't know, Siri is activated when you press down on the digital crown. So if this bothers you, like it did me, I would recommend just turning it off in the settings. It's nice to have that option. And you can still activate Siri by raising the wrist up and saying, "Hey Siri, do something for me," and it'll still activate. So it's not like you're completely eliminating Siri functionality when you turn this feature off. Now, I thought the watch would be too big for my frail little wrists, and I think that some of you probably will say that it looks a little too big for your frail little wrists. But I actually kind of like having the bigger watch. I think it's grown on me. I like having the bigger display to interact with. The worst thing about it, though, is just it attracts more attention. You definitely get a little bit more looks, and I think it was like the third or fourth day that I was wearing this thing around. Someone actually was able to identify it as the Ultra. They asked me questions about it, which was pretty cool, I guess. But I kind of prefer a more stealthy appearance. I don't really like all the attention. And it not only has a big display and a big kind of footprint on your wrist, but it's pretty girthy too, with a depth of 14.4 millimeters thick, which is almost twice as thick as a modern day smartphone. So you kind of got to imagine having two pretty thin smartphones stacked on top of each other in square form on your wrist. With that said, the titanium body doesn't make it too terribly heavy, although I did notice it a little bit when I was running. You're just gonna wanna make sure that you have the wristband nice and tight, and it shouldn't be an issue. Now, I ordered the green Alpine Loop Band only because my original Apple Watch order got canceled. So if I wanted an Apple Watch Ultra on day one, I had to get the green color. That was the only unit that was shipping on time. And it's fine. Green's actually my favorite color, but I would just prefer something a bit more neutral, like the Starlight Alpine Loop, or a black version that matches whatever attire I happen to be wearing at the time. It matches this attire because I picked this specifically to kind of help match with the green band, but that's not always the case, and green doesn't really match super well with everything I have in my wardrobe. But what I'm getting at is it should be a crime that these bands cost $99 a la carte. The markup for what it costs Apple to actually produce these things is got to be insane. So I wish the price was a lot cheaper so I can just have a bunch of different bands I could swap out to help match various clothes that I happen to be wearing for that day. I do want to go back to the display though, because it is absolutely beautiful and it's the real star of the show. It's the reason why you should be getting the Ultra. It has a 338 pixel per inch index, which is pretty good, nothing too crazy, but it has up to 2000 nits of peak brightness for increased visibility outdoors. Or if you're like me, you can actually program the action button, which is unique to the Apple Watch Ultra, to quickly activate the flashlight. So it's great for when you're closing up your shop or your studio late at night, you're waking up for a midnight trip to the bathroom, or you're just accidentally blinding yourself or others when the button is accidentally pressed. It does happen every once in a while. But it's a unique feature, once again, only available on the Apple Watch Ultra, and it makes use of this display. The display is OLED, so black colors aren't illuminated, therefore improving contrast and saving some battery life. But arguably the coolest thing about it is actually its night mode. So when you turn the digital crown up, the Wayfinder watch face turns everything red, making it much easier on the eyes. It's honestly such a great feature to use at night when I'm crawling into bed or in a movie theater or I'm at a concert. It's so great that I actually haven't found myself using any other watch face because sadly this feature is only available on the Watchfinder or the Wayfinder watch face. Thankfully, with that said, the Wayfinder watch face is great. It's got a lot of shortcuts, a lot of very valuable information that you can view at a glance. It doesn't look the most stylish, but it's by far the most feature-packed, letting you, view all sorts of information like the date, the elevation, the longitude and latitude that you're at, the air quality, and much more. And you can customize all of that to a pretty fair degree. The other thing that makes the Apple Watch Ultra so enjoyable to use is its battery life. Something that makes the girth that I mentioned earlier of 14.4 millimeters completely justified, because I'm able to use it for about 2 days on a single charge, give or take, depending on just how active I am. I can get 3 days sometimes. I can get closer to 1 day if I am working out, going on a GPS run, hike. It does kill more battery life, but the point is I'm able to get a solid 2 days on average on a single charge. But that means I can actually, wear it at night and track my sleep cycles, which is something that I was not able to do consistently with my older Apple Watches because I'd have to charge them up in the morning or charge them before going to bed. And you can actually get more juice squeezed out of this device thanks to a new software update that features the new low power mode that just came out with WatchOS 9.1. If you go into the workout settings of the Apple Watch app on your iPhone, you can go turn on the toggle to reduce GPS and heart rate readings, which should get you from 12 hours of GPS activity usage to up to 60 hours. And I'll actually place a link to some fitness gurus who have tested this new feature in detail and really broken down the numbers of how long you can actually use this Apple Watch with the new update. It's worth noting that the Apple Watch Ultra supports L1 and L5 GPS. So basically what that means is that you can track your location to within about 6 feet of accuracy with good visibility, which is much better than previous Apple Watches using the L1 GPS satellites. But the point is, I'm impressed with the battery life of the Apple Watch Ultra. Relatively speaking, it offers some of the best battery life of any smartwatch on the market. It is going to pale in comparison to a standard Fitbit tracker or Amazon Halo fitness tracker, but it's impressive considering what all that this watch can do. I feel like I've been talking a lot about the Apple Watch Ultra, yet I feel like I've also only scratched the surface. Figuratively, of course. There's a lot of sensors and features that are in this watch that I haven't really been able to test in detail, but I did want to include mention of. They include a water temperature sensor, a depth gauge and ability to withstand being submerged in up to 100 meters of water, a blood oxygen sensor, ECG, high G accelerometer with crash detection. You've probably seen the ads for that. Dual speakers that are more than 40% louder than the Series 8. You've got a 3 microphone array with beamforming and wind noise mitigation, and support for international roaming since it features cellular connectivity regardless of which model you get. So every Apple Watch Ultra features support for cellular. And that was a big selling point for me. That was actually the biggest issue I had with setting up the Ultra. It had trouble connecting to LTE with T-Mobile, but I managed to fix it by factory resetting the watch and keeping the network settings saved. So if you have similar issues like me, definitely give that a try. Call quality and music playback over LTE though, once everything was working, was very good in my experience. I was able to make calls in loud environments and nobody had issues hearing me. They actually had no idea that I was even using an Apple Watch, which was kind of trippy. Now, I also ran into issues loading Spotify music onto this device, but that has also been fixed with the new WatchOS 9.1 update, no longer requiring you to place the Ultra on a charging stand and be connected to Wi-Fi in order to download music. That was a main annoying thing, especially because they didn't really communicate that that was what was required in order to accomplish this feat. But since the speakers are so loud, I think it would be kind of cool to be able to play music or podcasts through the Apple Watch speakers without being connected to wireless headphones. Sadly, you cannot do that right now, but I feel like there's no really reason why you couldn't. I guess other than battery drain, but the option would still be nice to have. With all of that said, I'm very happy with my Apple Watch Ultra, even though I would say it's a bit overkill for me and my needs, and most people should not buy one. Most people will find the Apple Watch Series 8 and even the Apple Watch SE completely sufficient for their fitness tracking and smartwatch related needs. The new Series 8 watch, which is arguably more aesthetically pleasing, is half the cost of the Apple Watch Ultra, and the Apple Watch SE second generation is about a fraction of the cost of that. So it's hard to justify the Apple Watch Ultra considering these cheaper alternatives are out there. The Apple Watch Ultra is big, it is rugged, and it's made for adventure. It literally feels like I have a computer strapped to my wrist, and I kind of like that. It inspires me to be more active. I can track my steps and my activity in greater detail than pretty much any other smartwatch on the market, and I can just get more data on my body that I find fascinating as a data junkie. And I love being able to just go on a run and leave my phone behind. I can listen to music that is stored on my Apple Watch and played through my wireless headphones. I can even pay for things with Apple Pay all on my watch. And without needing a smartphone, it looks a little pretentious, but hey, you know, if it gets me to reduce my screen time, I'm all for it. It's also the only smartwatch I feel comfortable rock climbing with, which is one of, if not the most important thing that I value in a fitness tracker. So for $799, I didn't expect to be this happy as I am with this purchase. It's a lot of money and I still don't really recommend it for most people. But if you're an adventurous person, you are looking to be inspired, you have the money to spend to help inspire yourself, I think the Apple Watch Ultra might be up your alley. I'll place some links that you might enjoy down below in the description. With that said, guys, I'm BoHD from Slash.tv. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. See ya.